What's up, reefers? It's Queen of Reef here, back again. In my last aquascaping video in this little series, I talked about how you can create your main rock structure using focal points and sexy spirals. Well, my dear reefers, that is not all the things that you have to take into consideration to make a really sexy scape, okay? There's a few other things. So you know what makes really great looking aquascapes look so great? It's because they are always designed around mimicking nature, or at the very least, the way our eyes perceive things. And they do this by strategically adding depth to their aquascapes. Depth perspective. It's the major key to making your aquarium look interesting to the eye. Adding depth to your tank is a little magic trick that you can use to make your tank look larger or never ending even. It can even make your tank look completely filled out with corals even though you really only have a few. Applying this magic trick of depth to your aquarium is actually really simple, okay? Before you start questioning my sauce though, the answer is no. No, your tank dimensions don't matter whatsoever when you're thinking about adding depth to your aquarium. I don't care if you have a 20-gallon nano little rectangle or you have the deepest 400-gallon low boy lagoon ever made, okay? Depth is always possible to create in your tank. Why? Why is that? Because all you have to do is just take into account the way our eyes perceive things naturally. If you've ever taken a beginner's art class at any point, you probably know a bit about how to create depth already. Our eyes view objects that are near to us as larger and objects that are further away as smaller. So we're taught that to create depth, we always need to make sure that the object further away from us is smaller in size to mimic this. You see this principle of depth applied in freshwater tanks all of the time. However, this doesn't really translate well to reef aquascapes. Corals are the key features of our tanks, and because real estate is valuable and so limited in our little boxes of water, we have to make sure we get the most bang for our buck. So that means all we have to do is just take that freshwater planted tank depth rule and just reverse it. Basically, any rock that you place towards the back of your tank needs to be larger, and then any rock that is placed towards the front needs to be smaller. Because we want to make sure that we can pack as many corals in there. And I mean, picture how awkward it would be to just have like this big old mound at the front of your tank with all your corals, and then it just gradually gets smaller with less corals. I mean, that would just be weird, right? So this is what you're going to do, my friend. First, you are going to use my previous video to design what you want your main rock structure and focal points of your aquascape to look like. Don't worry, I'll link this for your convenience at the end of this video. I got you. Next, you are going to place your main rock structure somewhere towards the back of the tank. Don't put it directly against the back wall or the side glass or anything like that though. Trust me, you're going to have glass or acrylic that is so clean that you can't even tell it's there, and then this big bunch of algae that you can't reach, and just trust me, you're going to hate it. So make sure you have enough space between your scape and the glass. Okay, so once you've placed your main rock structure in the back of the tank somewhere, but not too close, you're going to use other rocks to frame that beautiful main structure of yours. And this is where it starts to get really fun and you can get really creative with it. So let's say you decide that you really like that central mound look, right? Okay. Here you go. You've built your beautiful mound based on the spiral of sexiness from my previous video, okay? You've placed this gorgeous mound of yours towards the back wall, offset, of course, for bonus points. And now it's time to frame this bad boy, okay? So we can do this. We can add, a part coming off that curves the side like this and slopes down a bit, or even add a little arc. A little arc coming off right here, or another little arc that curves around just like that. It's beautiful, right? It's all up to you. Okay, guys, it's all up to you. Just get creative. Aquascaping is fun. And guys,
guys, really, that's it. That's all it takes to create depth in your reef aquascape, folks. You know, big rocks in the back and rocks that gradually become smaller towards the front. And that's it. You are now a depth aquascaping pro. Woo! Okay, I knew you had it in you. Let's take a look at some real life examples though, shall we? Once you point out this depth rule, it seems pretty obvious, I know, but I still see so many rock placed in wall formations these days. So hopefully by pointing out this really easy rule of depth, it helps you out in some way when you're creating your sexy aquascape. Hey, I appreciate that, Wayne. I don't know if I can take credit for this comment though, because Fibonacci sexy spirals are actually anything but boring, okay? You are now the second in comment time. Yes, you did. Right? We don't even give them the credit they deserve for being the bougiest fish out there right now, you know? They are the true OG.
It's bad and bougie, bad. Cooking up with